I've been working on a game about wizards called Castlemancer for the past 7 to 8-ish months. And I've done some things right, but many things wrong. And hence, I will swallow my pride. And here is everything I did wrong when starting my indie game, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. Even though we probably all will. So this is gonna be kind of rapid fire, so buckle up. I didn't really create a solid design doc when I started. When I began working on Castlemancer, I had a completely different idea, and it has morphed into something totally different. Hopefully for the better. Even a simple design doc would have helped me iron out the actual gameplay loop earlier on. I didn't really prototype fast or early enough. Prototyping involves building out the base mechanics of the game to test out if it's even fun. In reality, some things are more fun in your head than in a game, and I've been trying to rectify that ever since. And since I didn't prototype fast enough, I've been super delayed with user feedback and playtesting, which is kind of the opposite thing you should do. I also set up the Steam page for Castlemancer really early on, which to be fair is what they tell you to do, but it's still super bare bones with old screenshots, so it's probably not giving the best first impression, which reminds me I should definitely go and change that. Now, premature optimization is the death of all side projects, but every time, I still keep falling down this rabbit hole. I get so bogged down in the minutia of how to scale things, it takes me 10 times longer. Please, if you're using the Unity game engine, think about how your game will scale to different resolution screens, especially if you're using pixel art. I've spent so many hours trying to get my game to look crisp on all resolutions without the pixel art completely spazzing out. No 0 days. I've always been a proponent of taking breaks, but if you take too long of a break, it's actually way more time consuming to restart on the project where you left off than if you just did some small feature. So anytime I've taken a long break, it took me a while to feel comfortable with the project flow again. I make YouTube videos. Now this might sound weird, and trust me, I love making YouTube videos, but when it comes to pure game dev, doing YouTube and game dev at the same time is the ultimate time destroyer. Because if I finally make some decent progress on the game, I then have to pause to make a video about it and do all the scripting and editing, then rinse and repeat. I didn't try different game engines. This kind of goes back to the very beginning, but I have only really used Unity, which I do think is a decent engine, but without having anything to compare it to, it's not really saying much. Also, it leaves you open to the whims of the company who owns the game engine, if you're solely relying on that. Looking at you, Unity. I didn't really study game design enough. As a typical naive game developer, I figured, hey, since I played so many games, I could probably make one that's fun. Now, making a game is one thing, but making it fun is a complete other thing. And having to dive deeper into game design and why certain games do certain things in certain ways has really opened my eyes, and I wish I studied it a bit earlier on. I also didn't release any smaller games early on before starting on my first big project. Now, many of you probably found my channel when I was working on my 2D RPG called Muster. I also may have had a different YouTube channel name. I'm just indecisive. Turns out, trying to make an RPG as your first game is a very bad or tough idea, at least for me. Hence, I swapped to working on Castlemancer, which is a roguelike deck builder, which is a bit more manageable, but still hard. And lastly, man, I get lazy. I'm not some productivity god, even though I try to be, and hence I go through waves of massive progress and, let's just say massive procrastination. But I don't really know how much that'll change in the future. So that's just a taste of some of the many things I did wrong, so hopefully me going through all of that makes you feel a bit more at ease with your own game dev journey, if you're on it. Or maybe it just gives you a more realistic picture on the whole learning process in general. But at least to give myself some credit, here's some things I think I did right, kinda. Well, I spent over $100,000 to go to college to study computer science and math. And besides that debilitating price tag, it gave me the amazing skill that I already knew how to code going into game dev. And I'm not gonna lie, it definitely made the technical side easier. Now, along with that, I didn't get stuck in what's called tutorial hell. A common pitfall when starting in game dev is that it's very easy to solely rely on various tutorials to accomplish features in your game. When you're learning, this obviously is totally fine, but you want to try and develop your skills without relying on constant follow-along tutorials. This again is just kind of a result that I already knew how to code beforehand. Next is I focused on things that I liked. Now, I consider myself a technical guy. I mean, I did spend 4 years studying computer science and math, though I wouldn't say that was the most fun, but I do enjoy the technical problem solving involved in programming and design. But on the art side, there is, let's say, more to be desired. Hence, I minimized the amount of art I had to do myself by paying and leveraging pixel artists who actually enjoy doing that stuff and are actually good at it. And I've mentioned this before as a massive time saver, but try to lean into what you like and kind of lean out of what you don't, at least at the beginning, to help, stick with the whole learning process. Another thing I think I do well is that I do non-game dev things also. Some of the best ideas I've had for my game or ways to approach a particular bug or feature I've actually thought of while not working on game dev at all. Giving yourself that space to just chill out, hey, I think that's important too. And I also play games, I know. Surprising, an indie game developer plays video games too, crazy. But I do think it gives you insight on different ways to approach certain problems or player interactions. So get out there and do your homework and play video games. I delayed my Steam Next Fest game demo until it was better. Now, if you don't know, the Steam Next Fest occurs a few times a year, and it's hugely important for indie games to reach a wide audience. To participate, you need a demo up on Steam of your game, and many indie game developers will actually get their most wish lists from this event. But the kicker is you can only participate in one per game. Now, I was planning on participating in the one in October 2023, but my little wizard game was not nearly good enough. You basically want your demo to be as polished as possible, so I think the right decision was to delay it until I could have something I was really confident in. And lastly, it's a big one, I didn't quit my job to pursue indie game dev. But man, that would have made an amazing YouTube video. I've seen all these trending videos about indie game devs who quit their job to pursue their indie game dev dream. And hey, I really support that. I think that's awesome. But also, that seems like it adds a ton of stress onto the whole thing. Unless, I guess, if you have like a bunch saved up or invested or something. But right now, I'm kind of just chilling, which is nice. Alright, thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any tips about game development or, different resources I should check out, or anyone that's just curious on how to start learning game development could check out. My name is Michael. We do a bad British accent at the end of every video. If you like tech, computer science, game development, career advice, consider subscribing. Give this video a like to help your boy out with that YouTube algorithm. That's all from me, and hopefully I see you in another one. Bye-bye.